welcome to my channel. So today we're going to learn about naming organic compounds using IUPAC. So the organic compounds that we would be covering would be alkenes, alkenes, alcohols, carboxylic acids. So we would start with our naming process. So this here is a basic or the backbone of the organic chemistry. So if you want to learn to name an organic compounds, you need to know these names properly. So if a molecule of a hydrocarbon would contain one carbon atom, it would be called as meth. If it contains two carbon atoms, it would be called as eth, 3 prop, 4 butyl, but 5 pent, and 6 hex. So this is the normal naming that you would be using while naming an organic compound. Okay, after this, there are few steps that to be followed. So here I've just written 2. After that I'll be writing some more steps. The first thing is that you need to select the longest chain. Okay, so the longest chain is something that is straight or it's unbreakable. Like you will be consider if I'm talking about chain. So here this is a chain which is made of balls, metal balls and strings. So this here are metal balls, and here this is a string. Okay, so this setup which we talk about of a metal ball and string, it could be placed in this manner, or else it could be placed in this manner, or else it could be placed in this manner. Okay, so here what we see that this all are a part of the chain, and we can't say that it's being broken up, right? Because if we draw a straight line in this, you would be able to simply draw a straight line across this. Even if you see this, you would be able to simply draw a straight line, and here also you would be able to draw a straight line. So you just need to remember in IUPAC, if there is an carbon which is present in the end, you have to consider in the chain. Okay, you can't neglect it. So this is what you need to remember when you're selecting the longest chain. Next thing is numbering the system. So we will be learning how to number a system and how to give the least possible number to the groups which are outside the chain. So the first topic that would be understanding would be alkanes. So now we will be learning how to name a straight chain alkane. So here we see that this is a molecule of a hydrocarbon. So in this molecule, first thing that we need to select is the longest chain of carbon atoms. So when we say the longest chain of carbon atoms would be this. So since this longest chain of carbon atoms, we need to calculate the number of carbon atoms present in the longest chain. So here it's 5 if you calculate. Therefore 5 carbon present in the longest chain. And since the 5 when the 5 carbons you have to say it collectively in one word, you can say it by the word pen for the carbon atoms. So and this is an alkane here. Then we'll be putting the and the aim is in the ending of alkane. So you just be writing this as pentane. Okay. So this is the way how you name straight chain. So I would be taking one more example so that you will be able to understand it nicely. Now I would be writing everything in condensed form, so it would be clear as well as understandable for you. So this here is an open form which I am written, and here it's a condensed form. So I would be now on writing the condensed form of all the hydrocarbons. So in this, what do you see that there are 3 carbon atoms present. That's the longest chain. So 3 carbon atoms. And this here, the one word for 3 carbon atoms would be prop. So, and since it's an alkene, you would be writing it as propane. So same way, whenever you see anything, any alkene which is in a straight chain, you will be considering the number of carbon atoms, then the name for that respective carbon atom, and then just putting it as A. So now we would be seeing the next part. So now we would be learning how to name a branched alkene. Okay, so the branch alkene would be having so here there's a straight chain, and you'll be having in an alkene or a carbon atom which is outside the chain. So you'll be learning how to name such carbon atoms. So I will be putting the hydrogens. So whenever you're naming a hydrocarbon, the hydrogens which are there, it does not have any particular like need. You don't require the hydrogens whenever you are naming a hydrocarbon. Okay, so here this is a hydrocarbon, and we'll see how to name this. So the first rule of naming is selecting the longest chain. So selecting the longest chain can be in two types. This could be the longest chain for us, or this could be the longest chain for us. Okay, because if you see, both of them is unbreakable, and if you draw a straight line from here, it would be a straight without any breaking, and even if you draw this, it's a straight line. Okay, so we could select any one of these and the naming would always come the same, and we would be selecting the one that is this. Okay, so we would select this numbering system, this longest chain. Okay. So now we have selected our longest chain. Now the second part is you have to number this chain. So you could number it from this end, or you could number it from this end. So I'm numbering it from this end. So this numbering which I've given is for the carbon atoms which is present. So and this numbering would be used to tell me what is the position. So for example, in my organic chemistry, the carbon, this group which is there, it can be placed anywhere, right? So this would just help us to tell the position on which carbon atom this particular substitute carbon atom is placed. So now, whenever a carbon atom which is outside the chain, it's called as an alkyl group, or it's called as a carbon substitute. So what do you mean by an alkyl group? It means that, for example, here we have one carbon atom, so this alkyl substitute would be called as a methyl substitute. And always remember, whenever you are writing the names, make sure that it's in the small letters. Okay, so here we would be starting, we would write the name for this compound. So we could select the this numbering system, which goes from right to left, or this which goes from left to right. But we would be selecting this numbering system rather than this, because in this numbering system, the carbon atom which is outside the group is getting the least possible number, because we are numbering the carbon atoms in such a way that this carbon atom should get the least possible number. Therefore, the name of this compound would be 2. That's the position of the carbon atom on which the methyl group is placed. Then the methyl itself, because that's the name. And then we'll be writing the total chain, the total amount of carbon atoms present inside the chain. So therefore here there are 4. Therefore we write it as BT. Okay, so this is another type of molecule which you will be getting to name. Okay, so the same steps you would be following. That's selecting the longest chain. So the longest chain could be 2 again here. That the one is from this carbon atom to this. That could be 4, and even this. So you would be selecting the one which is simplest for us to number and name. Okay, so in this we would be again, so the first step is done, that is selecting the longest chain. The second part would be numbering it. So you would be numbering it from the ends. It should be always from the, you can't start the numbering from the between. So you can number it from here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can number it from here. Okay, so now if you select this numbering system, then the groups which are coming here, it's second and third, and even if you select this, it would be second and third. So in this case, what do we see, that you could choose any numbering system. Okay, So you could select this, or you could select the second one, because if you even name using this numbering system, the name which would be coming would be similar. Okay, so now we would try to name this compound. Okay, so the first carbon atom which is placed is on the second, and the second carbon atom is placed on the third one. Now here, since there are two carbon atoms placed, therefore we'll be writing it as di, and since both of them are methyl, therefore you write it as dimethyl. So we don't write here as ethyl. The ethyl would be only written if you have the carbon atoms in a straight chain, like continuously, like here. If you had if two carbon atoms which are outside the chain, then you would be writing here as ethyl. But here, since there is only one carbon atoms which are outside the chain, therefore you'll be writing just as dimethyl. And so once we just write the position of the carbon atoms which are outside the group, we'll be writing the chain which is there. So the chain here consists of 4 carbon atoms, and that stands for butane. So here it would be written as 2-dimethyl butane. So we would be taking one more example. So now we would be naming this molecule. So the first step that we use to name the molecule is selecting the longest chain. So in this, the longest chain would be this. There could be many other possibilities, that it could be this, and it could be also this. Okay, this also contains 4 carbon atoms as well. This contains 4 carbon atoms. Now, the second step would be numbering the chain from end to end. So it would be this manner, or it could be this manner. So now, as we know that the groups which are outside the chain, you should get the least possible number. So in this numbering system, the groups are getting 2, and in this it's getting 3. Therefore, we use this numbering system. So if you're writing the name for this molecule, it would be written as 2, 2. I'm writing this 2 twice because there are 2 methyl groups that are that are on the second carbon atom. So we need to specify the position of the carbon atom. So since there are 2 methyl groups on the second itself, and so we have to write the 2 twice here. Then since there are 2 carbon atoms, we will be writing it as dimethyl, and after that the chain, the total number of carbon atoms present inside the chain, that is 4. Therefore it would be written as butane. Okay, so now we would try to name this molecule. Again, the same steps. First, select the longest chain, that would be this. The second part would be numbering. So in this, again, 2 ways which we could number instead of side to side. So here, what we see is that in this, the methyl groups which are outside, here it's getting 2, 2, and 3 if we take this numbering system. And if we take this numbering system, the methyl groups would get the number that is 3, 4, and 4. So if we see the least possible number we are getting in this chain, and so this would be the number system that we would be selecting. So therefore, if I write the name for this compound, it would be 2, 2, 3, and since now there are 3 methyl groups which are outside the chain, therefore it would be written as tri-methyl. And after writing the things which are outside the chain, we will be writing what is inside the chain. So that is 5 carbon atoms. So for 5, we write it as 20, and it's a single bonded carbon atoms. Therefore, it's a 20. So I hope the concept for naming was clear. So once this concept regarding this would be clear, there are just few additions that we need to see for the rest of the compounds, and we would be easily able to name the rest of the compound also. So now we would be going to the next part for naming alkenes. So now we would be learning about how to name alkenes. So first we will try to name straight chain alkenes. So the difference of naming between an alkane and alkene is that alkanes do not have a double bond. So in alkanes, what we just need to be changed is the position of the double bond. So here I'm drawing a molecule, and we'll see how to name it. So for the first, we would select the longest chain. That could be this, and we will be numbering it. So again, the numbering could happen from both the ends. Now we have to see where the double bond, you have to see where the double bond lies, and the double bond should also get the least possible number. So if we select the first numbering system, a double bond is coming between 3 and 4, and if we select the second numbering system, the double bond is coming between 2 and 3. So we have to select the one which is getting the least possible number. So the second one is getting the least possible number, so we will be selecting that. So how would we write the name for this? So always whenever the double bond is between 2 and 3, you will be writing as 2, and whenever it's between 4 or 5, you'll be writing the 4, because so you have to basically give the least possible number to the alkene, to the double bond. So here the name for this would be, since it has 5 carbon atoms, it will be written as spent. Then the position of the double bond, that is on the second and third. So we consider, so we write here 2, because you have to give the least number to the double bond also. And then we have to write E, because it's a double bonded compound. So all alkenes are denoted by E's. Okay, so we'll see one more molecule so that you will be able to understand. So the longest chain here would be this. Now we have to number it. So this numbering system, the double bond comes between 2 and 3, and in this numbering system, the double bond comes between 1 and 2. So we would be surely taking this rather than this. So as I told you, whenever the double bond is between 1 or 2, 3 or 2, we have to take the least number which is between them. So here, since it's between 1 and 2, the least number between 1 and 2 is 1. Therefore, we would be writing this as prop 1E. Okay. So now you'll be seeing some few more molecules. Again, this is a branch alkene, which we would say. So always remember that whenever you are naming any compound, always the preference should be given more to the double bonds or the functional group. So in case you have a double bond and a methyl group outside, so whenever you're numbering the least possible, if you have to choose between both of them, the least possible number should come to the double bond. So this here would be the longest chain. And the numbering would be happening from both the ends. Okay, so now what we would be seeing is that, as I told you, that the preference would be given more to the double bonds, or an functional group like OH would be there if there's a methyl group. If you have to choose between a methyl group and a OH group or any functional group. Okay, so here if you see that in the first part, if you see that the methyl group here is getting 2 and the double bond is between 3 and 4, so it's getting a number of 3. But in the second part, if you see, the alkyl group is getting number 4 and the methyl group is getting the number 2. So because here the methyl group is getting a lesser number as compared to this one, you would be selecting this numbering system rather than this. So the name of the compound here would be 4-methyl, then the carbon atom, that is 5, pent, that is the position of the double bond, the double bond itself, the naming. Okay, so we will be seeing the next molecule now. Okay, so in this molecule, we will be selecting the first thing, that is the longest chain. So that would be this. After that, we would be writing the numbering of the chain. So it could be 1. Okay. So now I would just write here that for double bonds and for methyl group. So if you take this numbering system, the double bond is between 2 and 3. So therefore the number which would come to a double bond is 2. And in this numbering system, the double bond is getting again the number 2. For methyl group, if I see this one, if you talk about the methyl group is getting the number 2, whereas in this one, the numbering which it's getting, it's 3. So here, if you see overall, everyone is getting the least possible number. And in this here, the methyl is getting a higher number. Therefore, we would not be selecting this, and we would be selecting this numbering system. So the name of this compound would be, so the methyl group, it's on 2, so it would be called as 2-methyl. After which you have to name the total number of carbon in the chain. So here there are 4, so it will be written as but. Then you have to mention the position of the double bond. That's on the second one, because we have selected this numbering system, and then the E, because this is an alkene double bond. So in this molecule, again we would be seeing the first thing, that is selecting the longest chain. So the longest chain should be such that it should include the double bond. You can't select the longest chain in alkenes that excludes the double bond. Okay. So in this molecule, we would be selecting the longest chain, and after which you would be numbering this chain from the ends. So now I'm just writing here for double bonds and for the methyl groups. So in the first one, we see that the double bond is between 3 and 4. So the number which we'll be getting for the double bond is 3. And the methyl group here are on the second position. And for this, the double bond here, it's between 1 and 2. So here it would be getting 1. And the methyl groups is on the third. So as we know that we have to give the preference to the double bond. In this, the double bond is getting the least number, but in this it's getting 3. Therefore, we won't be selecting this numbering system. We would be selecting the one in which the double bond is getting the least possible number. Therefore, the name of this compound would be 3,3 dimethyl but 1. Okay. So now we would be doing one last example. So in this molecule, again we would be selecting the longest chain. So that could be this. It could be this. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this 5 carbon atoms. So we would be selecting this as the longest chain. Now the numbering would be happening from both the ends. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. Okay. So in this method, what we see that the first numbering system would be the adequate one, because the carbon atoms which are the double bonds which are there, it's coming between 2 to 3, and here is coming between 3 to 4. So therefore we would be selecting this numbering system. Now this one is slightly different. The only difference is that we see now that there are 2 carbon atoms which are outside the chain. Therefore now this group which we called as ethyl, because now there are 2 instead of 1. So this would be called as an ethyl group which is outside. So this would be named as ethyl. And always remember that all your letters, whatever you write, it should be in small. Never write anything in big. So your the position of the ethyl is on the third carbon atom, and then you have to write the total number of carbon atoms present in the chain. So that's 5. So you'll be writing it as pent, and then the double bond is between 2 to 3. So write it as 2, and then E. The next topic that will be doing is naming an alcohol. Okay, so now we would be learning how to name an alcohol. So alcohols have OH group as a functional group. So whenever you see an OH as a functional group in a molecule, then you have to consider it as an alcohol. So alcohol should be always like OH group should not be with some other compounds. It should be just an alone OH group. So we would be seeing some examples to name how do we name alcohol. So here I am drawing a molecule. So here naming this alcohol would be very simple. So here you just have OH in the ending. It means that the OH is the functional group here. It means it's an alcohol. So I don't see anything else. Then the rest here, it's a carbon chain and all the hydrocarbons that we see. So whenever we have OH linked to a hydrocarbon chain, it means it's an alcohol. So here we would be naming it. So the naming would be again very simple. The preference should be given to the alcohol here, that is OH. So this would be the numbering way, and this is the longest chain. So this would be simply named as propane. So propane, then 1, that's the position of the alcohol, and oil. So you have to, so there's a thing, for example, when there was an alkane, you use ane in the ending. When there was an alkene, you used ene in the ending, and same is for the alcohol. So you just use OL in the ending. So now we will be seeing one more example. Okay, so in this again the straight chain would be this, because this is an unbreakable straight chain. Therefore, what we would see that here this alcohol contains 4 carbon atoms in straight chain, and the numbering would be this manner. Therefore, it would be called as butane. Okay, so now this was if the alcohol is on the first position. Now we will be seeing many other molecular structures for alcohol. So in this, what we see that the alcohol is on the second carbon atom. Okay, so in the previous examples that we did, the alcohol was on the first, but here it's on the second. So we will be seeing. The first step is that we would be selecting the longest chain, and then we would be directly numbering it. So we would be not selecting this numbering system, as on this the alcohol rests on the third one, and on this the alcohol would come on the second one. So we will be selecting this numbering system. So this compound would be simply named as the carbon chain that exists, so that is 4. Then the position of the alcohol, that is on the second, and then the OL. So we'll see one more example. Okay, so in this would be the longest chain. Then you would be numbering it. So if you do it from the left or right, in this case you would just get the number 3. So you can select any number that you want. Here the longest carbon chain is of 5, therefore it would be pent 3 all. Okay, because the OH is here on the third carbon atom. So now we would be uh, seeing that what if there is a branch chain of alcohol. So in this molecule, we see that now it's a branch chain. So the first thing that we do always is select the longest chain and number it. So I've selected the longest chain, and second thing is number it for you. Okay. So now, as I told you in the previous examples for alkenes, that whenever you have a functional group and a methyl substitute outside, you should always give the preference to the functional group or the double bonds which is there. So in this case also we would be doing the same thing. So the first numbering system, the alcohol which is there, it's getting number 4, and this one, the alcohol which is there, it's getting the number 1. So we won't be selecting this, and we will be selecting since the alcohol is getting the least possible number in this numbering. So this would be named as, so it would be the same manner, but we just would be adding the OL in the ending since it's an alcohol. So here, if you see, this would be named as 2-methyl then the chain, that is butane, and the alcohol is on the first, therefore 1 off. Or you can just write it as butane. In this molecule, this you have to select the longest chain. So you should be very careful while selecting the longest chain because it should also have this functional group. You can't miss the functional group. So in this way, there are, I think so, 3 possibilities of getting the longest chain. That is, one is this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms. Second possibility would be this, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and third possibility would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can have 3 chains, but we would be selecting this one. So now this, again the numbering you would be doing from both the ends. Okay. So as we know that we always give the preference to the functional group. So this numbering system won't be accepted as it's giving the 5 number to the alcohol, and this you are getting the number 1 to the chain. So now the chain would be named as, now this here it has 2 ethyl groups and not methyl, because if you see there are 2 carbon atoms which are together in a chain. So therefore you would be seeing that this would be written as 2 ethyl groups. Or this could be numbered simply as 3, 3 diethyl and okay, I can just write pentanol or pentanol. Okay, so now we would be moving on to the next molecule, that is carboxylic acid. So the carboxylic acids have the functional group, that is C double bond O and Y. So here, never get confused between an alcohol group and a carboxylic group, because carboxylic group would be also having a double bond on above the carbon atom. So in the case of alcohol, would be just having OH group, and in the case of a carboxylic, will be also C a double bond. So if you write this in condensed form, it would be written as this, and in the case of alcohol, we just write as OH. So now we will be seeing how to name a carboxylic acid. So in carboxylic acid, it's pretty simple. We just need to calculate the number of carbon atoms, and that's it. Because the reason is that you can't place the carboxylic acid anywhere, because I won't be able to place the carboxylic acid here, because carbon can just make 4 bondings. Therefore, you would be always seeing carboxylic acid. So the functional group of carboxylic acid present in the ending or in the beginning. So wherever it is, you have to consider is as first only. So here, this here, we have 3 carbon atoms. You have to also consider the carbon which is with the functional group. So since there are 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms, therefore this would be named as oic acid. So you have to add, and so you're in carboxylic acid, you have ic, this thing, okay, but you just need to add an O to all the compounds. So whatever that's in the ending of the homologous series, that's what you need to add to each and every compound. So here at the ending you see it's an ic acid, so therefore you add an oic acid to this whatever the molecule is. So we will be seeing one more example. So in this molecule we have to again calculate the number of the carbon atoms, okay, and the number of carbon atoms would tell you the longest chain. So in this the longest chain is 1 2 3 4 5, therefore it's pentanoic acid, because it's a carboxylic functional group which is present here. Okay, so and now we would be moving to the next part of naming, that is halogens. So the halogens basically include fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So you won't be, so when you are writing a name, okay, when you are writing the name in organic, you won't be writing as fluorine, ethane, or something like that. You would be probably like writing the short forms. So for example, if there is a fluorine inside your molecule, you won't be writing it as like fluorine methane or fluorine methyl, something like that. You would be always writing the short form. So for fluorine, you would be writing the short form as fluoro. For chlorine, it would be written as fluoro. For bromine, it would be written as bromo. And for iodine, it would be written as iodo. Okay, so we'll see an example. So whatever we saw, that whatever organic molecules we have saw till now, that we have always add everything as a suffix, but in this specific whenever it's halogens, we'll be always writing the halogens first and then the name of the organic compound. Okay, so I'll show you an example. So here so this is a 3 carbon atom which is inside the chain. So here this would be simply written as 2 fluoropropane. Okay, so now we'll see one more molecule which would be based on halogens. So in this molecule again we'll select the longest chain and we'll be numbering it. So as we know that we will be giving the preference to the functional group, because here this we see that's just the functional group here. So here what we see that we would be giving the preference to this numbering system rather than this, because in this numbering system the chlorine are getting the numbers 2, 2 and 3, and in this numbering system it's getting 3, 3 and 2. So we would be selecting this rather than this. The name would be for this compound would be 2, 2, 3, and since there are 3 chlorine atoms, therefore trichlorobutane. Okay, so we will be seeing few more examples to understand how to name halogens properly. Okay, so in this we see that there is a straight chain, there is also one carbon which is outside the group, and there is also one chlorine. So as we know that we would be giving the preference more to the functional group, that is chlorine, rather than the methyl group. So in this the chlorine is getting the number 3, and when we go through this the chlorine is getting number 3. So in both the cases the chlorine, but so now we would be giving the preference to this numbering system rather than this, because in this both is getting the least number. So when you have so now the problem is that how to name it, because even methyl you write it first and even chlorine you write. So whatever the functional group which you have, that you would be written first. So here you would be writing it as 3-chloro, and we put a dash, then we write 2-methyl, and then the number of carbon atoms present. So here it would be 5, therefore it would be pentane. Now we would be seeing as a molecule in which you would be having more than one halogens present. So we would be seeing how to name such compounds. So in this molecule, we would be selecting the longest chain. That's this. Now we would be in such type of compound, we would be seeing the least number should come to each other, so that the total sum here, it should be always like less. So if you go for numbering in this manner, and if you go for numbering in this, here what do you see, that the chlorine which is there, it's getting the number 2 twice and 3. So if you go for this numbering system, it would be, and if you go for this numbering system, it would be 3 plus 3 plus 2. So if you calculate overall, then this would give you the lowest possible number than this. Therefore, we would be selecting this numbering system, then this. So now we will see how to name. Now when we talk about chlorine and fluorine, so we would be naming it according to the alphabetical order. Okay. So now if we want to name this compound, it would be named as 2, 2, because there are 2 chlorine atoms, dichloro, then 3-fluoro, and the longest chain, that is butane. So here I have written chlorine first and fluorine after that. It's because according to the alphabetical order, the chlorine come first and then the fluorine. So you have to place them according to the alphabetical order. Even if there is an alkyl group, for example, if there is ethyl and there is methyl, so you will be writing ethyl first and then the methyl would be written and then the longest chain. So I hope this video would be helpful for you to understand how to name the organic compounds. If you want to know how to name esters, I have made a dedicated video that is esterification, and in that I will be teaching how to name esters. So thank you for watching. If you find it useful, please like and subscribe.